healthcare system, the government-run healthcare in Canada, is the good news about that gallbladder surgery you need is it's free. The bad news is you're not going to get it. There's nobody who speaks more eloquently to the backdoor government takeover of healthcare that Obamacare is than Stephen Tucker, somebody who's been a practitioner in the industry, somebody that is the health policy leader on Obamacare for the Illinois Tea Party. Please welcome Stephen Tucker.
You know, when Claire invited me, I thought, how in God's name am I going to shrink down a 2,400-page government healthcare takeover into 7 minutes? It's impossible. So I'm just going to give you 3 things that the left is using to help convince the rest of the country that Obamacare is great. And then I'm going to expose one of the biggest lies that they're using right now to demonize Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney, basically Medicare. The first is, and you'll see this everywhere, from our friends on the left, of which I have none. And they will say things like, I love Obamacare because my son can stay on my policy till he's 26. I call that a failure to launch clause. At 27, you have to get your own policy. Well, I want you to know that in states all over this country, for years before Obamacare passed, you could keep your child on your plan till they were 26, 27, 28, even 30. It's not a new concept. We did not need Barack Obama to solve that problem because our 10th Amendment allows us to do things like solve that problem on a state basis. The second biggest lie, we gotta pass this bill to, back that up, I lost my place. We gotta pass this bill to solve pre-existing conditions, right? Pre-existing conditions were caused and created by Congress. In the year 1996, a law called HIPAA law passed. Who's heard of HIPAA? Right? When you think of HIPAA, what do you think of? Privacy. It's part of it. HIPAA law stands for the Health Insurance and Portability and Accountability Act. There's no privacy in there. No. What's the most important thing is portability. That's number 3. Portability has protected 90% of the American insured in this nation for 17 years. Who are these people? These are people who purchase group health insurance coverage. And when they have a job, and they've held that job for at least 18 months, if they lose that job, they have what? 63 days to find a new group health insurance policy. And when they find a new group health insurance policy within that 63-day window, they have to provide the new employer what? A certificate of credible coverage. Right? Who's familiar with this? Even if you're not familiar with the law, anyone in this room ever have an employer drill you when you get there to do the interview and ask you, I'm looking at you, how heavy are you? How many prescription drugs do you take? Does your family have a heart history of heart disease? I just need to know. Why don't they ask you those questions? Because it's illegal under a law that was written 17 years ago. So we didn't need Obamacare to solve pre-existing conditions. It was created by Congress. Now, when they didn't extend portability protection to individual policyholders, you see the backbone of this country, self-employed, small business owners, entrepreneurs, they didn't give them any portability protection. So they can be denied coverage for pre-existing conditions. Do you know how you solve that problem? 1 sentence. You add 1 sentence to existing HIPAA portability law that states the following. All individual plans are now protected under existing HIPAA portability law. Does that take 2,400 pages? Does that take 1 page? It takes 1 sentence to solve pre-existing conditions. Lastly, Medicare. Our friends on the left, again, of which I have 0, they like to put commercials together with a guy that looks just like Paul Ryan, with a little widow's peak, and he's pushing grandma over the cliff, and then he dumps her over the cliff. Democrats, keeping it classy, right? I want you to know that the person pushing grandma over the cliff looks more like Alfred E. Newman with a good tan. You see, it's Barack Obama who has already ended Medicare as we know it. So they love to say that. The Republicans are ending Medicare as we know it. There's vouchers for seniors. No, there's not. The $6,400 extra that they say that Paul Ryan's going to charge seniors, and the vouchers, that was killed in December 2011 because they wrote a new plan. The plan is called, not the Ryan Rivlin plan, which was the old plan, it's the Ryan Wyden plan. It's a bipartisan bill written by Paul Ryan and Senator Ron Wyden, who is a far-left liberal Democrat from the state of Oregon. And the two of them came together, bipartisan basis, you know, like Tammy Duckworth would say, roll up our sleeves, we're going to roll up our sleeves. I was watching that debate between her and Joe, and all I could think of was grabbing my guitar and going, Kumbaya, roll up my sleeves, Kumbaya. But in reality, they did come together and wrote a piece of legislation that will save Medicare. It will not kill Medicare. How did they do it? Have you heard what President Obama has already done to Medicare? He cut $716 billion from Medicare. He's the first president in U.S. history to ever do anything like that. And how did he do it? $416 billion of it is a reduction in reimbursement ratios to doctors, hospitals, and home health care clinics. Why is that bad? The Mayo Clinic in 2009, they stopped taking Medicare. Why? This is before the health care law passed. They stopped taking Medicare because the reimbursement ratios for Medicare were already so low. What the president did is cut $416 billion more. And then he did something else with that $716 billion. Remember this slide. If you like your plan, you can, back that up, I love it. You can keep your plan and no one's going to take it away from you. Where's the other prompter, period? Right? Remember that line? In reality, you can't keep your plan. Just a little while ago, a few weeks back, the president knew that under his health care law, the destruction of Medicare Advantage, you see that's the other part of the $716 billion, $136 billion is the decimation of Medicare Advantage. There are 4 million seniors in this country who love Medicare Advantage. It's officially called Part C. Part C includes Part D. You don't have to buy it separately. D is prescription coverage. They love the plan. Barack Obama's health care law said it's got to be killed as of October 2012. Now, the president's advisor said, sir, if you kill the Medicare Advantage plan, it would really upset a lot of people. So you know what the president did? You know how he always says, you know, if I can't get this done with Congress, I'm just going to do it myself, right? So all by himself, here's what he did. He took $8 billion out of the Obamacare research fund and forego the decimation of Medicare Advantage until after the election. Who knew that? Very few people, right? So if Barack Obama gets reelected and you've got Medicare Advantage, kiss it goodbye. What does Paul Ryan and Ron Wyden do? And now it's the Mitt Romney plan. What do? For the first time in U.S. history, they introduced competition into the Medicare arena. And you cannot hate the Ryan plan and love Obamacare. I want you to remember this. You cannot hate the Ryan plan and love Obamacare because both plans function the same way. You see, the Ryan plan introduces government-run health insurance exchanges for people who are under 55 today when they turn 65. It does not end Medicare. Medicare, the traditional option, is still there for you. Ryan's not taking it away from you. But you get the option to purchase government-controlled, government-subsidized health insurance as a senior. And you're guaranteed the 2 cheapest plans in the new Ryan Health Insurance Medicare Exchange. That's what you're guaranteed. Why do they do it that way? Because Medicare will be bankrupt. According to the most recent assessment by the CBO and the CMS, Medicare is bankrupt by 2016. By 2016. The only reason the president keeps it until 2023 is because he cuts $716 billion from Medicare by cutting reimbursement ratios to doctors and hospitals and home health care clinics. So if you support the president's health care law that offers government-run health insurance subsidized by the U.S. taxpayer to purchase health insurance, you can't demonize Paul Ryan's plan because it offers the same thing for people who turn 65 10 years from today. Why do they have to do it? Because Medicare is going bankrupt. So the last 2 things We must repeal Obamacare. How do you do it? Vote for SenateConservatives.com. You must support these vetted candidates. Candidates vetted by Jim DeMint and the great one, Mark Levin. Because we have to take the Senate. That's the only way left, because John Roberts, the Chief Supreme Court Justice, he betrayed us. He created a new taxing power all by himself. It's called the Roberts tax, and it's the tax for doing nothing. It's the same thing as going into a supermarket and buying asking for a pack of gum. The clerk says, "You want some gum?" You say, "No. No, thank you. That'll be a $2.50 Roberts tax." This is what they've done to us. SenateConservatives.com, and then we cannot repeal Obamacare without getting rid of the worst part, the Obama. Thank you for listening.